How's it going, my true people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back on Pokemon Showdown for week 10, I believe, of the ABC, that's the Associated Battle Community. I am your coach of the Bowland Bovines, and this week we're going up against the New Jersey Blue Phoenixes, I believe, coached by my man Blue Phoenix. If you guys have been around on the channel for a while, then you may well remember the versus, the Red 721 versus that unfortunately was never completed, but that me and Phoenix recorded together. This was the first person that I ever met in the Pokemon community through Twitter, I believe, back when I first started my channel. I think I had got like one episode up and he'd got one episode up when we first started talking. So someone that I've known for a little over a year now and just an old friend, really good friend. So it was exciting for us because as we've both got busy with uni and stuff, we haven't had as much time to talk lately. Obviously not having the verses as well meant that we didn't talk as much as we were doing at that point. So it's always cool to actually go and battle him and have some fun. Last season I did win the battle between the two of us, so this season he was very much coming for revenge. But this game was really important for me. If we win here today, then we are locked for playoffs, for definite, I believe. Absolutely guaranteed playoffs with 1 week to spare. So going up against EV Master next week in the last week of the season, who would also be vying for playoffs if I lost here today potentially, meant that really it was important that I tried to do my best to win, so that I didn't have like a playoff game before the playoffs essentially against EV. If you see what I mean, a kind of like an extra elimination game potentially. So this game was supposed to be fun, but supposed to be serious, and I think that's kind of reflected in the sets. Half the team I brought here was just fun because I wanted to have some fun playing against Phoenix, and half of it was just supposed to be like to actually, you know, really try and get the win, a little bit more try hard. So we're actually bringing Dean or Foss, I can't remember which one I nicknamed it, the Electrode for the first time this season. We've had Electrode on the draft all season and never used it, but this time we're bringing the Electrode. This is a Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, Hyper Beam Electrode. So you can hear their three moves are very serious: Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice. The Hyper Beam on the end a little bit for the memes, but it might actually nuke something if we need to. And really, this is choice specs, I should say, as well. And the idea being that I want to be able to hit things like the Dragonite with Hidden Power Ice. I want to be able to hit the Marowak that you can see hiding behind the Regigigas here with Hidden Power Ice. And everything else I can hit with Thunderbolt or Volt Switch, apart from the Rotom. But the Rotom doesn't stop me from Volt Switching, so I don't really mind. And if I want to, I can nuke that thing with a Hyper Beam. So that's why we have that set. Then we have a Sweeper Scolipede with Swords Dance, Superpower with Fightinium Z, just because it's neutral against the Celesteela, so it is gonna. We don't really have anything to hit this Celesteela for super effective damage, but it's very powerful neutral damage against it, and it can kind of nuke the Regigigas as well. And you know, at +2, it can do pretty much like 100% to Manaphy, and pretty much everything on his team doesn't really want to take a +2 Z superpower. Then we have Poison Jab and Megahorn for coverage for the rest of his team. And then before I can talk about the Talonflame set, I have to talk about the Mega Lopunny set that we have here. We have a Cosmic Power Baton Pass set. So it is Sub Encore Cosmic Power Baton Pass. No offensive moves on this Mega Lopunny with max HP, some Spadef. I can't remember exactly what the Spadef was for, and some physical defense. Just so I can basically Sub and Cosmic Power up on most things on his team. And then I can Baton Pass those stats into the Talonflame. That was the thinking. Now I screwed up the Talonflame set a little bit. This was because his fastest one wasn't even here, in fact, was a Thunderous at 111 speed. It meant that we could run a pretty bulky Talonflame set with, I think we had 120 EVs and HP, with the idea being Flare Blitz plus Brave Bird at +2 attack once we'd got a Swords Dance up, beat down his whole team, and nothing could two-shot me, nothing could two-hit KO me with the leftovers that we had on this set. After Lopunny had got to +2 and Baton Pass, we wanted to try and get to +2 or +3 Spadef and Defense. Then with the combination of Swords Dance into Brave Bird and Flare Blitz, we could just take out everything on his team. Or we could outlive anything else on his team. And where I messed up was that I took Roost off this set and threw Toxic on at the last minute. Because I was like, oh, do you know what? Actually, it might be easier just to Toxic some things and wear them down that way, especially if I'm behind a sub. But I was forgetting that I hadn't taken Swords Dance off for Roost, which was my kind of thinking at the time. I just took Roost off for Toxic, so I was going to boost up, and I didn't even realize this until you'll see in the game, that I was going to boost up this Talonflame so it had all these defensive perks, and then just wore itself down with Recoil anyway. It didn't make a lot of sense. But in my head, at the time, I thought I had still got Roost on there and not Swords Dance, and I just wasn't going to boost anymore. Either way, It doesn't really matter. That's how my kind of oversight in prep. Then we have a Draco Plate Hydreigon with Draco Meteor, U-Turn, Fire Blast for the Celesteela, and I'm not sure what the final move was on there. I don't think it was Dark Pulse, but I'm not entirely sure. It might have been Flash Cannon, because I think he had a Fairy, but I can't remember exactly what his Fairy was. But I think it might have been Flash Cannon for his Fairy type. And then last up, we have the Empoleon, Nico the Empoleon, with like a Scold, Max Speed Def sets. Try and just take hits from that Manaphy. Toxic, Scold, Stealth Rock, Defog. The idea being, if he's not a Rain Dance Hydration set on the Manaphy, I can just Toxic and then wall it forever, is the kind of thinking. And I can get rocks up and down with the Defog and the Stealth Rock. Because obviously if Talonflame is going to win here, because Talonflame can just 6-0 this team. Even at team preview, I'm like, okay, Talonflame can 6-0 this team potentially. The important thing is A, to get my rocks up, and B, to make sure his rocks don't go up, because Talonflame does not like coming in on rocks. So that's the kind of idea here. And with that in mind, we're going to lead Empoleon, predicting him, well, just making sure that if he leads Marowak, oh, I forgot to turn the music off. Just make sure that if he leads Marowak, we'll be okay. I'm just going to reset that, otherwise the music will probably keep playing. And he actually leads with Regigigas, and I'm like, okay, this is not what I want against Regigigas. If he's max speed, he might outspeed me and be able to sub, but I don't think he's going to be max speed, so I just go for the Toxic instead, turn 1, just to make sure that this thing isn't going to sweep me immediately, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. We've got this thing poisoned, he's confused me, and he's paralyzed me. I'm okay with that. Empoleon's not that fast anyway. All he can probably do is hit return, looking at his moveset. And he does fire for return. I know that Dean's going to take that. And I'm just going to click Hidden Power Ice here, because I don't think he's going to sack the Regigigas. I think he's going to go straight out into Marowak. And the reason that I went into Electrode of all things on that return, ooh, need to click reset, is because I wanted to bait out this Marowak early. I'm like, okay, so now we're in a really good position where we've got my rocks up. All I need to do is make sure his rocks go down. So that's why I'm like, okay, I know I can take a return. What this should do is it should force out this Regigigas, because the combination of like Thunderbolt into Toxic is probably going to kill him here. And he probably knows that, and he has a safe switch in Marowak. So let me just spam Hidden Power Ice, and we can try and bait in the Marowak. That's exactly what we do. Now he can try and go out into the Rotom and eat this hit if he wants to, but he doesn't know if I'm Hidden Power Water or Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Grass. He just knows it's super effective. And he actually goes out into the Dragonite. Now here I'm thinking, okay, he's looked at it and he's thought, he's probably Hidden Power Water for the Rotom. It does make some sense. But I'm actually not. I'm Hidden Power Ice, as I said, so that I could hit this Dragonite as well. The reason being that Dean is really, really fast. So with this Specs, I can just kind of punch through his team with Hidden Power Ice, because it's at least neutral on these top 3 here. It's only really the Manaphy and the Rotom that would be a problem. Rotom gets worn down by rocks. Manaphy doesn't want to take a Thunderbolt, so I felt safe and prepped on Hidden Power Ice rather than Hidden Power Water. As I said, I have that Hyper Beam as well. So he actually just goes into Dragonite here, and I do wonder if he's going to protect or switch into the Rotom, but either way, if he protects, he's not gaining a lot, and if he goes into Rotom, then he's taking more rocks damage, plus a little bit of chip with Hidden Power Ice, and I'm okay with that. So I'm just like, okay, let me just spam Hidden Power Ice, and he actually stays in with the Dragonite, obviously just gambling on me being Hidden Power Water, and we managed to drop the Dragonite, which is incredible. Now I'm like, alright, we've got to do something about this Rotom. Hydreigon looks like a safe switch, and we resist its both stabs. We are a special set, so we don't mind getting a Will-O-Wisp. There's nothing really Rotom could do here apart from Defog, which isn't the end of the world, so we might as well get some momentum back. And we U-turn here with him at -2. Unfortunately, we can't go into Scolipede, which is what I was kind of hoping. But Scolipede still got nuked by a Overheat. So we had to just go into Pamela. But Pamela can now start to set up. And when he brings this thing in, I'm like, okay, this is probably bulky. So let me just go for a sub and scout if he's going to fire up a Leech Seed. If he isn't, if he's an offensive set, I don't know if I want to be in setting up on him anyway. But he does go straight for the Leech Seed. And I was considering encoring in there, but I didn't think he'd stay in. So I just went for the Cosmic Power. But he does stay in and pop my sub. And I'm like, let me just go for another Cosmic Power, and I think I'll be able to sub after that. Let's see how much this does. The Hidden Power, the Heavy Slam does 21%, and I'm like, okay, now I can sub. He's probably going to go for the Leech Seed this turn, because I didn't sub last turn, and indeed we did call that right. So I'm like, perfect, now I can encore him into Leech Seed, and there's nothing he can do. I can get to +3. That was the goal, at +3. Talonflame wins this game. GG. It is over. Perfect. Everything has gone exactly as I planned. So I just baton pass straight out. He goes into Manaphy, and I'm like, that's not really an issue. Yeah, he's probably going to be able to break my sub even at +3. Speed Def, but I'm just going to SD here. And once I'm at +2, Brave Bird Oko's this mana fee nearly always. I can even probably go to +4, to be perfectly honest with you. And then he reveals the heart swap. And my heart dropped. Like, no lie, this man did steal my heart right here. When he clicked the heart swap, I was just like, this is potentially game. There's me being like, GG, I'm at +3 Spadef, nothing kills Talonflame. At this point, I should point out, when I go for the SD, I realized that I took Roostoff, and I'm like, oh my god, I took Roostoff. What the hell am I thinking? Why did I take Roostoff? But I'm like, at least I'm just going to punch a hole through his team. I'm behind a sub, I'm up +2. Brave Bird might kill this mana fee. If not, 2 Brave Birds will kill the mana fee before he like does anything to me particularly. Flare Blitz is going to nuke the Rotom after rocks. Flare Blitz is going to nuke the Celesteela, and Brave Bird or Flare Blitz is going to nuke the Regigigas. So I'm like, I'm at least going to punch a hole. But when he reveals Heart Swap, I'm like, I don't know how I break this mana fee anymore. I didn't bring anything to break this mana fee at +3 Spadef. That's crazy. Like, Specs Thunderbolt is going to chunk it, but I don't know. So I'm kind of looking at him like, okay, the best thing I can do here is get a Toxic off, because if he's Heart Swap, he's probably not Rain Dance Hydration. He might be, but he probably was trying to steal boosts from like the Scolipede or something like that to stop me being like offensively sweeping him. He probably wasn't trying to steal defensive boosts, so he might not be Rain Dance. So I've just fired off the Toxic in the hope that he doesn't have Rain Dance Hydration, and then I'm just going to go into Empoleon and try and wall him. And the fact he switches out there shows that he's probably not Rain Dance Hydration, and he knows that actually Nico can just hard wall him from this point on. So I'm like, oh my god, like that was terrifying. But I'm not in a great position because actually Pamela now is at 18%, so will pretty much not be able to set up on anything that has no offensive moves. It's just sack fodder. The Talonflame can't get those boosts again, so really it can still do a lot in this game, but can't just outright win. I've already taken quite a lot of damage on my Electrode, so really that's only good to come in on things it knows it's going to kill. Nico's paralyzed, so really it's between Hydreigon and Scolipede to try and win this game, and we're really relying on our offense here. These kind of offensive 4 that we have to just batter these last 4 of Phoenixes and try to win the game. We do have quite a bit of chip on most things. Only the Celesteela, I believe, is that healthy in the mana fee, because Rotom still has to take rocks damage. So I'm like, in fact, even the Celesteela after rocks damage isn't that healthy. So I'm like, okay, we can maybe do this. So he goes out into the Regigigas and starts drain punching me, and I'm just going to keep firing off Scolds, because all I want to do is get this thing as low as possible so that it can't try and like sweep me or anything. With the Toxic racking up, he's not going to be able to live much, even if I get the full paralysis, which I don't. So he drops, and I'm like, okay, that's nice. We're in a pretty solid position here, where the Regigigas has gone down. I've got to try and out-offense him from this point. I've got to try and win with my offense. So Nico just goes for, I'm just going for the Scold here to try and wear down this Celesteela. Unfortunately, we get fully paralyzed. It's not the end of the world, and he can pick me off with a Heavy Slam. There's no point in me going into anything else just in case. And now at +1 defense, I can bring in Electrode, and I can just start spamming Thunderbolt. And because we are Specs, we do kill. I don't know if he thought I might go for a Volt Switch there, and so was trying to catch me on that. Or whether he just realized that actually after rocks, double Thunderbolt, you can see maybe he could have killed some Rotom sets. I'm not quite sure. We did 22 and he had 27, so I'm not sure about the rolls exactly. But I'm just going to keep spamming Thunderbolt. He can Pain Split, and it's actually, yeah, that one only did 20, so I don't think we could have killed him anyway. But he can Pain Split, and I don't really care. Like, I just want Dean to go down here. I know that I can take care of the mana fee with the combination of Hydreigon, Scolipede, and Talonflame eventually. Like, those 3 will beat it down. They all outspeed it, and they all hit it pretty hard. Well, actually, that's not true. Hydreigon doesn't outspeed it, but it can take Ice Beam. And here, now that he's at -2, I'm just going to pick him off with the Poison Jab and get my speed boost. So I'm definitely, well, I was faster than Manaphy anyway because we saw it wasn't Scarf. So I'm like, okay, I'm faster than Manaphy. The only thing he can really do is go for a Scold Burn. So I'm just going to go for an SD and hope that he doesn't burn with a Scold. We live one anyway. And he goes for the Ice Beam. He said that for some reason he thought Ice was super effective against Scolipede. I think he looked up Scolipede's weaknesses and misread it or something, which is fair enough. I didn't know if he was just playing for the freeze, which honestly probably would have been his only out here had he frozen me. Even if he'd burnt me, it wouldn't have done too much. He might have saved some differential maybe. But by going for the SD, what that means is I put him definitely after toxic damage into Z superpower range. So Z superpower always kills from here. No, I'm saying a lie. Always kills after toxic damage from here. No, not even that. What was I doing? I think I just thought it killed, but he was a more defensive set than he was. So we're just going to pop off the poison jab and kill him. Anyway, I don't know why I thought that always killed, but regardless. We finish him off with the poison jab, and the important thing is he didn't die to toxic, which means Scolipede gets a kill. So now in the MVP race, Scolipede is second with 15 kills for the season. I have never had a Pokemon win an MVP. I am desperate for Scolipede to win it. So next week against Eevee, you better believe we're bringing Scolipede. You better believe we're trying to position it for the sweep, because I want to get the MVP this season. I want Scolipede to do it. Checkmate the Scolipede has been awesome. And had I not brought Poison Point instead of Speed Boost against Just Kurt, formerly known as Point Blank, earlier in the season, I might have actually got another kill with Scolipede in that game. So I'm kicking myself that by putting the wrong ability on it once, that might have cost me the MVP. So against Eevee, fingers crossed we can do that. But the most important thing here is that we do lock playoffs, 100% lock playoffs for the ABC. I don't know yet who we're going to be playing in playoffs. A lot can change. We aren't guaranteed. At the minute, we're sitting in 4th, I believe, in the playoff spots. But we could fall as low as 6th, I think, still. Or we could even rise up to 3rd, potentially. I'm not quite sure on that. So who knows exactly where we're going to finish for the season. But we definitely still have a little bit to play for against Eevee in terms of positioning, trying to get the highest seed possible in playoffs. And we have some very scary people to face in playoffs so far. Otherwise, locked for playoffs is Aquarius, who we've already battled and beat us. Socrates, who we've already battled and beat us. And Jack, who already battled and beat us. So the 3 people locked for playoffs are 3 of our 4 defeats this season. We are currently 6 and 4. The other one being Kurt, who unfortunately had to drop. So really, really terrifying stacked division for playoffs. But regardless, at least we've made it. At least we've made it to playoffs again. So this has been a really, really fun season, and I'm looking forward to battling Eevee next week. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.